Good evening. Welcome to the meeting of the Golf and View Committee. Thank you to all members of the public, councillors. Please be aware that the council is video recording this meeting and it will be uploaded to our YouTube website. Please can I ask everyone to have their phones turned off or set aside. The fire escapes are via the doors, via these doors. And I think that's it. I'm not going to read the rest about members of the public because we have members of the public here. But if you want me to, I will.
No, it's fine.
Before we start, as this is our first meeting, before we start with a short introduction, so if we just quickly introduce ourselves, should we start with Councillor Rutland, please?
Hello everyone, my name is Jeff Rutland. I am a town councillor for Seaford. Been resident here for 15 years and worked with some of you in the past, starting with some of you now. Looking forward to it all very much. Thanks very much.
Hello, Councillor James Lee. I was on Seaford Town Council last administration, but not on the Golf and View Committee. So I really wanted to be part of that because it forms such a huge part of our asset. And I thought it would be interesting to be part of that discussion. I'm also on Lewis District Council, so it would be nice to work with you. Thank you.
I'm Sean Doyle. I am the Secretary of Seaford Golf Club, also Club Welfare Officer. And we just come along and say a few bits now and again.
Thanks, Sean.
Hi, I'm Fraser Bawley. I'm a golf professional for the last 19 years. And yep, we turned up to the meeting and review, so look forward to working with the new councillors from now on.
Evening, I'm Simon, course manager. I'm with a Trump Fraser, and I've been here 23 years. Worked my way up and now course manager, so I look after the golf course and everything involved with that.
Thanks, Simon. Lewis.
So I'm going to go for 3 months. I've been here. And I'm head of assets, projects and services and looking after the view and the golf course amongst other areas up at the Seaford Town Council.
Thanks. I'm Sam Admiji. I used to chair this 4 years ago, and I think that's why I've been here. So, and it's nice to be back because that's something I'm passionate about. I also sit on the district council, on the county council as well. So, just let you say.
I am Stephanie Jobas. I'm a new councillor and new to this committee meeting, and I'm very much looking forward to working with everybody.
Hello, I'm Adam Chugg. I'm Town Clerk and Proper Officer of Seaford Town Council, have been since December 2020. Great to have the committee starting up again.
Hello, I'm Zoe Bonadoro and I am Projects Officer, so I also am taking the minutes for this committee too.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mark Hocking. 4 days before I leave. 16 months with you guys. I'd like to say it's been enjoyable, most of it has. I'm here to answer any questions tonight, what you want to go through. But yeah, it's been lovely working with you. Thank you.
Nick Mulray, and I was on the committee on previous administration and previous administrations on and off. And yes, I'm looking forward to working with everybody.
Hi, my name's Rob Buchanan, new town councillor and also new to this committee, and like everybody else looking forward to making us good success of this as an asset for the town.
Thank you very much. Okay, now on to the agenda. Agenda item number 1. Apologies for absence.
We have one apology. It's Councillor Lord is away. Thank you.
Agenda item number 2, that's a disclosure of interest. To deal with any disclosure by members of any disclosable pecuniary interest and interest other than pecuniary interest, as defined under the Seaford Town Council Code of Conduct and the Localism Act 221 in relation to matters on the agenda.
Oh, yeah.
And I've got one. My son is a member of so a youth member. of the golf club. So, I don't know if that's a non-pecuniary interest.
Thank you, Sam.
Agenda item number 3, public participation. Today with Agenda item number 4, to consider report 5223, review income and expenditure report for the year ending 2023. Is that you?
No, so I can do that. Yeah, let's launch in on that. So there's 2 reports. But the first one is looking at the year-end figures. It's the first time we've had an opportunity to look at those for the view. I don't know if you've got any questions. It clearly shows what was the costs and the income and the loss at the end of the year.
Thank you.
That's a worry.
Thank you. Under the view on page 10, 4052, water and sewage, has that come to a conclusion yet? Because it's showing £7,797. And is that sort of estimated or is that proper price?
Yeah, so that's just come in. And we were working with Castle Water. There's been a change, and we're working on trying to get a reply to where that figure came from and whether it's accurate.
So is that estimated?
We've been billed it, but whether it's correct is
Yeah, because that makes a vast difference
It
on
does.
the overall figure for the view.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Rockland.
Item 4314, cost of car top-up incentive. What is a car top-up incentive?
Yes, please, yes.
Okay, so basically that is when a golf club member comes in and gets a reduced price for anything they choose to buy. So it's not actually a loss. So I think that particular one possibly shouldn't be there. It should be shown on the golf in the big picture.
Okay, because that's £5,103.
Yeah,
Quite a big dent.
it is.
Okay. Answer the question.
Thanks. I just wanted to obviously just to commend the staff, especially on the golf, for a successful year. I think it's nice to know that even despite the fact that the cost of living crisis, we were within that 5% of our fixed income, and overall we actually exceeded the income. I think it was by 3%, 3.9% excess income. So I think that's well done to both to everyone in making that happen. So I think it was worth mentioning that. It's worth noting that. So I think I will make you note this report. Yeah, to note the contents of the report. So are we okay to note the contents of the report?
Someone wants to propose it.
Someone to propose, yeah.
Councillor Warray's proposing that.
And second then?
Seconded to Councillor Lee.
Okay, can we have a vote? Please all those in favour of noting the report? Okay, that's unanimous.
Thank you, Chair.
The next item on the agenda is agenda item 5, report 5123, which is the income and expenditure report up until the period ending 31st of July 2023. Please.
I'm going to take you through that. So, in summary, we're saying that the income's up by 43%, which is really good. Well done, Mark. We're looking at the expenditure being at, I had the figure ringed and I've lost it. The expenditure, is about 36%. So the difference between income and expenditure is looking quite good. We're still showing an overall loss going forward.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? I've got some. My first question, spoken to you about is on page 15, agenda item, so cost code 4271. I did notice that the budgeted amount for vehicle lease was £60,000, when last year we actually spent £84,000
Yeah.
on the lease. I'm just wondering why.
Because the 5-year lease finished.
Okay, it's finished.
So we purchased, at a core rate, I think it was about £900, we purchased those vehicles off lease. So £20,000 lease was, comes to its 5-year end.
And then, following on from that, 4272 or 4275, again, we've got budgeted sum of £1,000. I don't, so far, I know the expense has been quite low, but if I look at page 7 of the last year's report, we did say because of the building being quite late, the building, you spending quite a lot. So I'm trying to reconcile why we've actually budgeted a very lower amount this year, and we spent the following year.
Okay, I can answer that. So what's happened is we have a living roof on the view. It is leaking at the moment, but we don't have a maintenance contract. So whilst we know there's going to, a cost is coming, at the moment we don't know what that cost is. So you'll definitely see that in the budget next year. We'll get both a maintenance contract to manage the living room, and we'll actually look at the scope of repair that's needed.
Is it? Do you think we're on target? Not to exceed, not to go above the year this year.
This year, it depends what we find out in the marketplace about people who repair and maintain living roofs. So it's a project the project team picked up, but we at the moment are just scoping. The roof has been there obviously since the building's been built without ever being maintained. So at this stage it's going to be an iterative process. So hopefully we will fix the leak, but maybe put the maintenance starts in April next year. It depends what we find when they get up here.
Thanks. That's great. Yeah.
I reported back on the outside body group of a number of issues that were that the golf members had said existed, and I've reported that back to Louise, and I want to know if those repairs are included in this budget, because so far I've not received any information back, and also the golf club members have told me that the repairs have not in fact been undertaken. That includes things like locks, broken dryers, paper towels not being included, amongst other things.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you for writing the list of things that needed looking at. Fraser and I have met and talked about it. I've also done a walk round with Adam to look at the scope of understanding what it is that needs doing. We've also done the smell test in the toilets. I sent Adam in to do that to get an idea of what it is that we need to do. We have a toilet contract at the moment, which has got another 2 years to run. So we need to look at how we align what's being asked for within that contract. We also have quite major repairs downstairs that need looking at too. So those have all hit the sort of project list on maintenance. They're not quick fixes though.
Some of them are. A lock on the door.
The lock isn't broken. The lock's not broken. It was fixed as soon as it was thing. The difference being is it was actually changed to a different key, so the members didn't have the right key to get in, but it was subsequently, as discussed with the president, who is now president, I told him that that was changed because if any of the members came up while the building was shut, they would be setting the alarm off if they tried to get into their locker room. So it was decided to keep that locker room shut, especially when we're off, because they can get into it any time we're here, because we can open it back up again. But that lock was fixed, it works fine, I've got both keys for it, and you can open it from the inside as far as the staff goes, but it wasn't allowed to have access to it while we were shut, because the alarms would just go off as soon as anybody tried to get into it, so that was the... Yeah.
Does Alan know? I think it was...
I told Alan quite a while ago, actually, this, when he first asked me, because he was doing the maintenance outside, and he came in and had a chat with me about it, so...
Okay, at the last meeting he said that it was last meeting, so
We'll have that chat.
well, at least I know now.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Can I suggest before we take this offline?
Yeah, so the question is, how's the money being allocated for repairs?
So we can't change the budget this year. What we'll be doing is forecasting and getting some quotes on those repairs for next year's April budget.
Just a couple of more questions on the findings, if I may. Is it?
Sorry, just a quick one. Is there a definition of what a living roof has to be? Is it an absolute requirement that one has a living roof?
Chair, I'll just have a go at that one if that's all right. But also more experienced councillors might help me out here as well, who were here, because obviously I wasn't here in 2014. But it does relate to the planning permission for the building. Part of the planning, when this building was being built, the planning authority was really concerned about the impact on the landscape of the building. Everyone did an amazing job in terms of how well landscaped in this building is. When you go and stand over there, you can basically barely see it, and you know it doesn't stick out into the landscape. And part of that understanding the planning authority was a green roof on the building, and that's the reason it's here. So that doesn't rule out change, but change to it would require LDC permission because of their planning authority stipulation for the green roof when built.
Okay, so it's a green roof as opposed to a living roof.
Green living, I might be using the terms loosely, Councillor, if that makes sense, because a green roof is living, if that makes sense, because it's got green living things on it to make it green.
Okay, it may be
So,
I might be able to
ecological
a little clearer. So
Let's go for it.
when they stipulated the green roof, because I was here, it was a living roof, not green as in the colour green. And they also stipulated the mix of seeds. So the plants that were up there were grown in a roll of turf, but based on the seed mix that was recommended by the local authority that did the inspection. So in answer to that question, it is a living roof, and it had to be a certain mix of grasses and vetch and clover and plants.
So who tends to that roof? How do you get access to the roof?
No one tends to it other than to ensure the irrigation is running. We started up at the beginning of the year, end at the beginning of the year. But as Louise mentioned, there is maintenance that is needed now, which has been looked into.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. Just I've got a few more questions. Sorry to be very annual about this, but I'm going to go through them. First one is on 4261, which is the general maintenance.
Which page?
Page 15.
Yeah.
That's showing on the general maintenance. And initially I thought, oh, I understood this general maintenance is just general maintenance. But when I was looking back at the previous last year's report, 4261 is underground maintenance, not contract. And I'm just got me confused. So can you please
yeah, I can.
Yeah.
So what's happened is that the grounds maintenance led to confusion around people thinking it was part of our Lewes District Council grounds maintenance business, and actually it's not. So when I came in, I thought, oh my goodness. So they've actually changed the narrative to say that this is actually general maintenance, screws, wood, that sort of maintenance, not grounds maintenance.
So will that include maintenance that Councillor Dupath was suggesting earlier, and the green roof maintenance? Yeah.
We're talking about two different budgets.
Yeah.
The maintenance that Councillor was talking about is for the building.
Okay.
The Councillor and page that you're talking about is for the golf course.
Okay.
So I think you'd probably have to go back to the view budget page.
So thank you.
That ground maintenance there is what I use for sands, fertilisers, seeds, fuel, anything to manage the course.
Thank you very much. And then two more questions. The golf season ticket. Again, I guess that we've got most of the money up front. People pay, I guess people pay up front. So is there any scope for an increase there, or are we at the top end now for the year?
No, we've still got the winter ticket comes out at the beginning of October, so we normally pick up a few more. We don't know how many yet, but obviously we do pick up a few more. One guy came in today that wants to rejoin that's been injured most of this year, so he's starting up. So yeah, there should be still additions to that.
That's good. Thanks. And then finally, the buggy hire. I know you mentioned earlier that you've only had 6 instead of 8. How is that affecting us this year? Is there again, and is there scope to go to 8?
Yeah, I mean, it was meant to be 8 if the locker room had been done last year, but that was put on hold, so that's going through this season. So we've got the new buggies coming at the end of September, but they'll only be 6 for the time being because it's waiting for the locker room to be done for that. So for the next season, we can then up that by another 2. But as in year on year for 6 on 6, we're over what we had last year, which considering the weather we've had, which is obviously like how long the buggies have been out this year, is pretty good considering we've had less time for them to be out. So it's been up.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments? Again, we are asked to note the contents of the report.
Chair, could I just...
yes, please, yes.
Just for my personal niggling thing, there's a spelling mistake. It worries me.
Yeah.
324, second line, it should say brought, not bought. So it just worries me grammatically. 324.
324, page 13.
Page 13, and linen cleaning have brought expenditure back in line with expectations as opposed to bought. We didn't buy anything, we brought it back.
So how do you spell brought?
ER. It's got an R.
It should have an R in it because otherwise we're reading something slightly different. Thank you. Pedant. Grammatical pedant.
So are we okay to note the contents with the slides and amendment?
Additional letter.
Any proposal to do that? That's what I mean when you propose that. And then the second there. All those in favour?
Mr. Chair, that's passed.
And agenda to number 6, that's pages 18 to 22. We will note the report 1522 from the golf course manager, Simon.
Hello again. I won't go through it. I was quite thorough. What I tried to do was I repeated myself from other years in terms of how we manage certain things, broodology and stuff like that, just to bring an introduction to some of the new members. But I've got no additions or no changes to anything in there as to date. So I welcome any questions. Please to mention.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to say, Simon, I think you're doing a fantastic job, and particularly, biodiversity, reducing the pesticides, all that kind of stuff. I think is absolutely fantastic, and I think we should be very proud as a council that you're working so hard with your team to do that, and you're bringing them up, training them up in that biodiversity and environmental issues. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I would hope, you're talking about you're going to try and do some scoping of the rides and things, and the cutting back of vegetation for biodiversity. It would be great. I know we've had a bit of a hiccup with Sussex Wildlife Trust because it's under new management now, but I hope it would be nice once they get a bit settled. It would be lovely if they were allowed to help consult with you about what areas would be good which lended themselves well to that kind of thing. And I wonder if, whilst you're deliberating about the 17th and 18th T, whether there's anything you could kind of bring them in to advise about from their point of view, so that it can help your biodiversity credits going forward, how you could manage all that going forward.
Yeah.
Because it's all part of next to an SSSI, and the fact that the head is all our responsibility. It'd be really good to kind of get them a little bit involved in that as well.
We do.
Good.
We already do.
Well, there we go.
Funnily enough, only about 4 hours ago, I had a side meeting with the new guy, Sarah, the old person in charge of the nature reserve, and the new guy, His name,
Monks,
yeah.
Monks Terry.
Monks, yeah. So I met with him today, and we've already arranged to book in the flow and hedge cutting, which is done once a year. So that's going to be in September.
Fantastic, that's brilliant news. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Just a quick one. I second what was just explained there about how good that biodiversity work is. Just the question is the work that you do on these green issues for the golf course, is that kind of unique to Seaford golf course? Or is it something that other golf courses also
It's something that, in terms of greenkeeping and the magazines we get, is something that's pushed quite a lot now. It's something that we're quite a way ahead of. A lot of people are starting to see the light. I'd say a lot of more prestigious private clubs will have a bit of a pushback from some of the membership in terms of they don't want to lose their ball with the rough and they want to play here, they want to look like this, they want it pristine, whereas we've always been a bit more natural. But yeah, we're well ahead of the game. But it's certainly on the radar, or should be on the radar of any progressive greenkeeper now. But we're certainly leading the way.
just left field thoughts here? Is it something you can consult on to other courses?
Potentially.
We
In my private time.
We have this forum coming for that very purpose, because they have a golf course and there'll be a meeting in sort of end of September, beginning of October, where they're coming to have a look, meet with Simon and look at how that all works. Julie's setting it up. He's going to have a buggy ride too.
Okay.
And meet with you too, so.
Are we charging them for that?
Wow.
Yes, I am.
And if not, why not?
It's a great question. I mean, no, we haven't.
For the good of the environment, we're going to do it for free to know.
I think what I would say, Chair, is that with our county council and district and borough council colleagues, we work in partnership, and that's supposed to be anyway a two-way street. When on occasions we may call upon some of their expertise, and others call upon some of ours. But I take Councillor Buchanan's point completely about outside of that confine, if there are opportunities for some paid consultancy, I'm sure we would want to explore that when we can.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Chair. Just something else I wanted just to address to everybody, but also to Simon. I'm wondering about the green roof thing. I wonder if it's possible to go back to SDNP and say, could it be possible to vary the stipulation of the requirement, saying that it is actually very difficult to look after this green roof. It's proving a bit of a nightmare. I made a green roof for my garage, which is quite a big garage, and it's just sediment and other wildflowers like that. I never water it. It doesn't need water at all. I just wondered if it's possible to appeal to them and say, would it be all right to just change this to a sediment roof, which would look after itself? We wouldn't then have to irrigate it, which in these times, and this is about 10, 15 years after they granted that permission, things have changed. We need to preserve water, even though we've got a borehole. But, I wonder if we could kind of put anything to them like that, and they'd be happy to vary it.
Yeah, before you come back to that, sorry, I wouldn't say I'm actually against it personally, because I go out, even though I don't play golf, I go off Seaford literally every day, and just standing up there looking there is just great. You see that green blend, to see that grass blend with the environment, and I think both. And I know from these streets, I was actually there as well. We had a lot of problems, so to actually get planning permission anyway. So I doubt they would. But my personal view is that I think for the actual environment itself, this blends in, and we want to keep the beauty of the environment. That's quite important. And I think if we want to keep the beauty of our immediate environment, then I think we do have to pay that price. And that's my view. So I won't be supporting any decision to call.
Just
Simon.
to answer that question slightly, so green roofs, you've got extensive and intensive. Unfortunately, in your idea, we've got, no, don't ask me which one, we've got the one with a 75mm soil profile, which doesn't hold water, doesn't hold nutrients, roofs are designed to drain, it dries out when you need to irrigate it. The other one, extensive or intensive, has up to 6 inches of soil profile. So then those are the ones that you can not water, you can let dry out. They've just got as much. But the problem with that is you can need a bigger, stronger structure. And I dare say that this building was designed for the lightweight version of the roof as opposed to every roof. But it certainly, it wouldn't take a lot to put bigger rails on and put more soil on it. It's whether the weight would be a factor. And I guess it's something that structural engineers would.
Yeah, never got a structural engineer for my garage. It's just doesn't fall down.
Can I propose that we look into that? Because if the cost of doing the repairs is such that it would be cheaper and easier to do something akin to what you're saying, surely that would be the way forward. If we don't know what the numbers are, how can we make a decision?
I mean,
In terms of maintenance, possibly. In terms of the repairs, you're going to have to fix the leak first anyway. So I think the repair would be a cost that's going to have to be incurred. But the maintenance going forward, see them certainly lower maintenance.
Would you do the repair as part of the making it stronger for the 6 inches of soil? So you're just doing the job once?
we can certainly take forward, as part of our scoping exercise, the best way to go forward with the roof of this building, which I think is what you're saying.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so that's not a problem because we can scope that into the project brief.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
We have one more. Sorry. There's some hot water heating panels on the roof, I understand. That don't work. Is it planned to try and make those work as part of the roof works and roof works?
So that would feed into the scoping again and have a look. And we wouldn't do any work without actually bringing a brief to council with the opportunity for you to comment on what direction, what the options are. I understand nobody's really been up on the roof, have they?
The access, that was the access question.
Yeah, so until we get some experts, and you need a full harness to go up there. Some experts to go up there and have a look and understand what's going on up there, as well as how those panels would heat the water or not. Then
That was clearly part of the original planning permission.
yeah.
You need to make that access a permanent thing, I think, you know, ladder outside or something for the roof. You've got to be able to get there without having to fiddle about.
Without full harness, which is what you need at the moment.
Yeah, you just need to be able to walk up a stair or ladder.
And railings around it. And railings around it.
Health and safety.
Yeah.
Safety surgeon. So is there anything from there?
So all of that, I mean, it's a really useful discussion, thank you. We will put that into the project brief and you can scrutinise to make sure we have got it all in when it comes to you to have a look at and make any suggestions before we start on any work.
Yeah.
Sorry, just one more comment. On the outside body report, the golfers fed back at the meeting that the greens were exceptional and they actually thanked you for the work that you and your team have done.
Thank you. Just a quick question following on from Councillor Nick's point. And I know, I think 2.3, you mentioned you're looking at new 5-year plan for your for admission. Not seeing a list of what these items are. I think it's difficult to comment. Or can you assure us that whatever you do in the future will be green? So if you're getting a vehicle, it will be electric vehicle.
There's no suitable electric vehicles available in terms of mowing equipment for us at the minute, but they certainly will be looked at. I've already started that process. Our problem is we're quite a hilly site. In terms of mowing the greens, there's got greens mowers that are full electric that would do 18 holes. They'd probably do about 12 holes here because of the ups and downs. But it's always progressing forwards, and it's certainly something we look into. I think one of the issues we'd have is in terms of the fleet as a whole, or whether we do it in sections. Sometimes doing it in sections wouldn't necessarily be viable in terms of the battery usage and sharing charging points and batteries and stuff like that. But there's also hybrid vehicles as well, so certainly something we look into.
Thank you. Okay, we're asked to note the contents of this report. So can you have a proposal, please? Councillor Rockland, second. Councillor Warren, all those in favour of noting the report? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 7, which is the report 5323, which is an update from the golf professional on golf-related matters. Favour.
And last time I haven't got really anything to update apart from sort of some more good news, which is we're now sort of nearer to the £40,000 over where we were last year, which, considering the weather we've had this summer, coming out of an awful winter, doesn't seem to have got to go. It's very encouraging that we're still, gaining customers and societies, and the guys are still wanting to get out there and play golf. We've had a few rain affected, but they've rescheduled, and as a whole, it's been really steady and great. So all those three areas, the green fees, the societies, and the buggy income, are all nicely up on what we took last year, with arguably worse weather, which could always hit us quite badly. So, happy to take any other questions on any other part of my report.
Any questions?
Whose job is it to look at increasing the golf membership?
Just membership itself. Well, we market it accordingly. We're starting to put together a more marketing plan with the thing, but it's also it's a balancing act. We can't sell infinite amount of memberships, because you then have a golf course full of members and no societies and no green fees. So you've got, at the moment, we have what I would call it, as you can see from the income, we've got a very healthy balance between members, green fee players and society visitors that give us a general income. A member playing 3 times a week is probably paying about £5 a round. A visitor coming down playing society is paying £28 a round. So you have to keep that balance between the golf course, otherwise it topples one way or the other. And I think at the moment, although we've lost a few members just to, I think generally, I know there's another golf course quite close to here that's about 100 members down. We won't mention his name, but they're it's very similar. Right, it's weird. But yeah, I mean, they're similar to that kind of, they're very membership heavy based, so they're charging a lot more for the membership, and they need that income directly because they don't have the visitors that we do. So I think it's as we can see, it's the balancing act is quite working at the moment. So it's a difficult one, because you kind of want to advertise it to get more in, but you kind of don't want to go and make it such an amazing thing that you topple the balance a little bit.
Is there any data on the numbers to help us understand what that balancing act is?
Yeah, I can put together. Well, I'm putting together something for with the societies and all that kind of stuff to show sort of where that all comes in, so you can sort of see what comes in every week and that kind of balance. So I've got some spreadsheets for that. Yeah. Well, I will have.
That's what I mean.
Just out of interest, Fraser, I just wondered, what do you get much feedback from players as to how they see the view and their interaction with it? Are they happy with the way it is at the moment, or is there still a kind of grievance? I think there has been historically.
Yes, there has been. It's a lot better than it had. The last year and a half, or even certainly last 12 months, we've seen a lot less of that. We had a lot more before that position, you know, different reasons through COVID and for different versions, and I'm sure we'll probably agree.
I prefer it a bit more in a minute.
So and also we get the societies the feedback of them has been very positive as well. I had a phone call from the guy. We had a 46 player society that played 2 rounds on Friday, and they couldn't be happy with everything. They love every part of it. It all worked really well. So that's great. So that kind of feedback, when you've got, you can always have someone coming in for an odd round and they might not be happy, but I think when big groups of people are collectively happy, then something's certainly improved.
On that as well, Mark, you've had quite a few emails saying...
Yeah. That's across the board. That's whether it be golf societies or parties, functions, whatever's coming, wakes especially. Perhaps I shouldn't say, but I will say, today a lady came in, they had a wake last week. Sorry, I was away on holiday. That's probably why it went so well. But the lady came today and handed an envelope of £100 for the tips for the guys. That speaks volumes. And that's, like I say, with the societies themselves, they get looked after really well, and they're booking year on year, and it's just, we've created something here that's good. And going forward, the team are in place, the foundations are there, they're carried through, they're great.
That's great, thank you. I've just one question really. Competitions, do we do competitions? I'm not sure, because I can just... And I guess
lots of competitions.
I'm sure you're going to show my bias next, because I was trying to find a junior competition.
No,
I couldn't find any junior competition.
We're having discussions regarding that, because this is the first year we've seen a more active junior, and obviously we've had actually had the staff to be able to do the teaching side of it. So it's certainly something we're looking at, of getting a junior organiser and getting that back into. And to be fair, the majority of the juniors that have joined are probably not quite there yet standard-wise to play, although there is a few, but we can start to move that forward. But it's certainly it's something we've talked about moving forward. Yeah.
That's great. Any other? Thank you very much. We're asked to know the contents of the report. Can we? Any proposal? Secondly. All in favour, sorry. Okay. Can I just say, before we go to the next item, actually, I forgot my faux pas. Just to thank you. I think it's your last day. Last week.
A couple of days.
To say thank you thank you very much to Mark for your help. He would have never met you if I had wonderful things about you. So
that's nice.
Thank you very, very much, and you will be missed. So thank you. Thank you. Okay, so, number 8, that's Seaford Edge Golf Club update.
Comes to the meeting and also give the opportunity to give an informal update should they wish.
Hello. We'll give you a brief update, as some of you are new, and perhaps some of you, just the way actually that everything's run, and actually I'm not going to shed some light on some of the things that's been brought up already. So we run as a club, we're a separate entity. Obviously you guys run the view and you run the course, and someone obviously runs a fantastic job out there. And again, I shall add my compliments from all the members to all the fantastic condition the course is in this year. And we run as a separate entity. So we obviously gather funds from the green fees that get paid for 5-day or 7-day tickets, for annual tickets. We get at the moment £63. We're looking to increase it by a couple of quid, I imagine, this year with inflation. And then from that, we then pay for everyone's affiliation. So, fantastic, we've got 24 junior members. I think we only had 1 or 2 last year, wasn't it, Fraser? It was a couple, wasn't it, 2? That's down to Max, who has started teaching and bringing people in, which is fantastic, because we need to bring fresh blood into the club, which we're quite excited about. And obviously they don't pay anything, which is great for them. Gets them off an Xbox maybe, gets them out into fresh air, playing a good sport, a friendly sport. It has a detrimental effect to us as a club, because we still have to pay all their affiliation fees. So it's not a lot, £16 approximately per person, but it's about £400, and our total income comes from whatever green fees we receive. and any charity nights or any nights we can run or for club benefit nights, etc. So we don't have a lot of money. Years ago, obviously, we ran the clubhouse for everybody. We employed a steward and we took revenue out of fruit machines and bits and pieces of such, and obviously we set the bar prices. And actually, you mentioned the card earlier. That was one of the deals with us actually losing control of the clubhouse, was actually our members would always get a discount at the bar. So that's where that stems from originally. Because we lost every other bit of income potentially to us. We have a male captain every year, and don't have a ladies. Unfortunately, the ladies only have about 28 members, I believe it is. They now have a representation that comes to committee, and they still run their own competitions. So we run all the club competitions. So every club competition is run by us, the club. The trophies, some of them are over 100 odd years old and played for every year. But actually, our last committee meeting, we talked about the junior section, and actually the captain who's going to come in next year, presumably he's voted in, he's a vice captain this year, a guy called Jack, is going to have a sit down with me in the next week or two, look at the old trophies we've got downstairs, in the chance to start some Saturday afternoon, potentially, junior competitions. So that's something that, again, we're going to involve Fraser, because we want them to be enjoying their golf, and at the same time, it's always nice to win something, isn't it? So that's in the pipeline and how we're doing. Let me put the readers on. The male captain this year, Carlos, he's supporting a local Rocking Horse charity, actually, who did some wonderful work with his children years ago. And the ladies are supporting the local cycle scheme. You know, the cycle scheme that takes people out or from nursing homes, etc., and rides around. So they're raising money throughout the year for that, and every year the charity will generally change around. I should perhaps mention as well our thanks to predecessor councillor Mark Brown, who worked tirelessly over the years. Very well. And we welcome Steph, who's come along to a couple of meetings now, and seen how fun they are. We're all very, very sorry to see Mark leaving. Things have improved, as Fraser said, over the last 18 months. I became secretary just under 2 years ago. And one of my aims was to actually improve the relationship between the club and the council. It has been a bit torrid over the years. It has been, you know, as we say, we sit here in the golf club. If anyone wants to point out all the golf-related items around them, feel free. We have now, but we did work, and Adam was key to that as well. We did work keenly to get things like our members board, our honours boards up. For some of these competitions have been going for years and years, and pictures of club captains. And if you go around to the far end, and at that entrance you'll now see our honours boards up, which has appeased a lot of the members. It now feels like it's becoming their clubhouse again, rather than the promise of a brand new clubhouse, which they had no sign of any golf in at all. And that's where it set the picture, and that's why the relationship between golfers and the view is not as good as perhaps it should be. Because unfortunately in the early days, they felt ostracised, they felt like they'd been pushed out of the club. They felt, you've built a lovely wedding venue, you've built a lovely venue for wakes, but you haven't built a venue for golfers. And that's the animosity that is still niggling, still there, but it's improving. Over the last 2 years with big steps, Mark has made fantastic steps, improving little things, and they may seem little things like something you can get sausage roll and a pasty when you're coming from golf, you know, basic food, you just want a little bit of hot snack. Make a difference. And it makes you feel like you're welcome in here, rather than, oh no, if you're not having a sandwich with a salad on the side, they don't want that. They want an egg sandwich or a bacon sandwich. They want the basics sometimes, you know. Not all of us, obviously. As a club, we've obviously had to adopt certain policies to remain in line with Golf England. So last year we had to adopt a safeguarding policy, which is quite good because now we've got an increase in members. There is a safeguarding policy, and I'm a safeguarding lead. We've recently adopted, over the last month or so, and Fraser's very kindly put them on, we have to publish these on the website. And again, there's always a little crossover because we're the club, but the website belongs to the course. You know, we own the name Seaford Golf Club Limited. You guys own the view and Seaford Golf Course. So there's a few crossovers all the time. But we implemented equalities and diversity policies, which again are there available to read on the course website, not the club website, the course website. What else are we doing? We're restarting the quiz nights again soon, and that should bring a little bit of income on Friday nights, which we welcome other people to. It's not just a closed shop to golf members, obviously. We've got a couple of our golfers that have gone through to the 7th round, I think they're into now, of the Daily Mail competition. Basically, we have a winter competition. The winners, those 2 winners from the doubles competition, get put through to a national competition, and they're one match. I think the last pair in Sussex will be in the competition, and they're through one match from the finals in Wales, I believe it is. Anything else I can tell you? The view roof, if you do happen to get out there some, I've got a couple of golf balls up there. Feel free to return those. Might be free. Feel free to return those. Apart from that, really, that's it really. We just give this little friendly update. If anyone has any questions at all about the club, how we operate, how we try to operate, we're a little bit different to most golf clubs. You go to one up the road, for instance, and obviously the committee run everything. They employ the staff, they choose the staff, if they don't like the way the grass is being cut, they will tell the greenkeeper and they run the show. Obviously we don't do any of that here. Technically we're a little club that uses this, we pay you rent every month and we use this as a venue. And you know, we try and run traditional golf competitions which have been run for 100 odd years or so. You know, we are one of the oldest clubs in the country. And we should be proud of that, and you know, we try to keep it as friendly a place as we possibly can, and probably won't always get it right, but we try. And we like to think that we're a nice, inclusive club. For instance, someone was telling me they were a captain at one of the clubs locally, and it cost them nearly £9,000 that year to do that, paying for meals, paying for bits and pieces. When our captain becomes captain, or our president becomes president, or should I update you, we've got different presidents, I'll update you that in a minute. The club cover everything. We take that out of the revenue we receive. So actually when there's a buffet to be done for Captain's Day or Charity Day, we cover that ourselves. So actually anybody can become captain. There's no financial restraint to becoming a captain at this golf club, which is something we're quite proud of. And something we like to think is an open, inclusive place where people can come along. And it doesn't matter what your status is in the community, you can come up here and play golf and enjoy your golf, hopefully. And our captain did change at our last AGM. I've emailed Rebecca back. Is Rebecca still around? Is Rebecca? No one answered me. It's now actually the same name. I could have scribbled out the middle. Alan Flood was voted as our president for the next 4 years back in April. I did email someone back with his email, which I've probably breached some data protection on. But there we go. Ask any questions if you feel free to.
Any questions? Thank you very much. Sure.
Hello.
In the old golf club, you used to have all your trophies out on the show. Have you still got them?
We've still got the trophies. The trophies basically get held by a winner and then get passed on. Quite frankly, we've got some that no longer get played for. As Fraser said, there's a lot of competitions. I think we've got about 12 competitions in September. Some are midweek, some are weekends. I'm not sure you've got the insurance bill. You know, some of them are solid, you know, they're not plate, they're silver, and you know, some of that, I mean, there's a Chamber of Commerce bowl which is this big, well, it's so big, which is 110 years old, I think it is, something like that. So there's some fantastic old trophies, but
it's just showing they're given away, isn't it?
yeah, well, they're in members' houses, probably used as fruit bowls, and if it's like the one I put in, my wife kindly put it in the electrical cupboard out of the way. So, apparently we don't want that rubbish on display. But apart from that, yeah, we have got some lovely trophies, and it would be nice to have a small cabinet maybe, but again, you know, it's a multi-use venue now.
Yeah. You know, when you go up to the opposition, I mean, they have all theirs on display. I know they've had them nicked over.
They've had them stolen as well,
yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you know the contents of the report?
It's
It's just of me, just chatting.
Okay, exclusion of the press